The crimson storms of Proxima Beta raged outside the reinforced windows of Helios Research Station, casting an ethereal glow across Dr. Raina Blackwood's laboratory. She adjusted her microscope, studying the latest bacterial samples from the planet's acid lakes, when the station's alarm system shattered the routine quiet of her evening. Unidentified object entering atmosphere, collision course detected, the AI's voice echoed through the facility. Impact projected in Sector 7, 4 kilometers from station perimeter. Raina's heart raced as she rushed to the observation deck. Through the storm's crimson veil, she spotted it, a sleek vessel unlike anything in the human fleet database, its silver hull reflecting the lightning strikes as it plummeted toward the surface. The ship's descent was controlled but desperate, like a wounded bird fighting against the wind. Director Walsh, permission to lead a rescue team, Raina called through her comm link, already suiting up in her environmental gear. Whatever that is, it's not random debris. Granted, but proceed with extreme caution, Walsh's voice crackled back. Take Harrison and Rodriguez from security. And Raina? Remember first contact protocols. 20 minutes later, Raina guided the rover through the hostile landscape, following the ship's thermal signature. The vessel had carved a half-mile trench through the rocky terrain before coming to rest against a cliff face. Its hull was breached in multiple places, revealing an interior that pulsed with a soft, azure light. Life signs detected, Harrison reported from the rover's sensor station. One signature, faint but stable. Definitely not human. Raina nodded, her mind racing through xenobiological possibilities. Atmosphere reading inside the vessel. Similar to Earth standard. We can breach safely. As they approached the ship's emergency hatch, Raina noticed intricate patterns etched into the hull, symbols that seemed to shift and change as she looked at them. Rodriguez managed to override the lock mechanism, and the hatch slid open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Inside, they found a cockpit that seemed designed for beings of roughly human proportion. But it was the pilot that took Raina's breath away. Slumped in the command chair was a humanoid figure with crystalline skin that seemed to contain swirling galaxies within. Long, silver hair floated around her head as if suspended in water, and delicate patterns of light pulsed beneath her skin in weakening rhythms. "My God," Harrison whispered. "She's beautiful." The being's eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that shimmered like aurora borealis. She spoke, her voice carrying musical undertones that made the universal translator struggle. "I am Nixis, first daughter of the eternal light. The Aetherian Empire must be warned." Blood the color of starlight seeped from a wound in her side, where a piece of twisted metal had pierced her environmental suit. Raina immediately activated her medical scanner, trying to make sense of the alien physiology. "I'm Dr. Raina Blackwood," she said clearly, hoping the translator could convey her intentions. "We're here to help. Can you tell me what happened?" Nixis's eyes focused on Raina with surprising clarity. "Betrayal, my brother, the Void Seekers." Her voice faltered as she slipped back into unconsciousness. "We need to move her now," Raina decided. "Her core temperature is dropping, and these readings suggest severe internal trauma. Harrison, help me with the stretcher. Rodriguez, secure any data cores you can find, they might tell us what we're dealing with." As they carefully transported Nixis to the rover, Raina couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would change everything. Humanity had made contact with other species before, but never someone who radiated such power and importance. Never someone who arrived with warnings of betrayal and danger. Back at the station, Director Walsh had already cleared the medical bay and activated their most advanced diagnostic equipment. As they rushed Nixis through the corridors, Raina noticed the alien's wounds were trying to heal themselves, crystal-like formations growing over the injuries only to crack and fade. "Her cellular structure is incredible," Raina muttered, watching the readings on her portable scanner. "It's like her entire body is made of some kind of living crystal matrix, but with organic components we've never seen before." They worked through the night, Reyna leading a team of the station's best medical personnel as they tried to stabilize their extraordinary patient. Traditional methods proved useless, their tools couldn't even penetrate Nixus's skin. It was only when Reyna thought to use modified crystallography equipment that they began to make progress. As dawn broke over Proxima Beta, casting its perpetual red light through the station's windows, Nixus finally stabilized. Reyna sat beside her bed, reviewing the night's data and wondering what sequence of events had brought an alien princess to their remote research station. The answer came sooner than expected. Nixus's eyes opened suddenly, and she grabbed Reyna's arm with surprising strength. "They're coming," she whispered, her voice carrying both music and terror. "The Void Seekers will follow my trail. You must prepare your people, Dr. Blackwood. What my brother seeks will destroy us all." Reyna looked into those aurora eyes and saw something that sent chills down her spine: fear. Not just for herself, but for everyone, human and Etherian alike. Whatever was coming, it would change the fate of both their species forever. And somewhere in the depths of space, undetected by the station's sensors, a dark ship watched and waited, its crew preparing to complete their mission. The hunt for the first daughter of the Eternal Light was far from over. The arrival of the Etherian Royal Guard turned the quiet research station into a diplomatic powder keg. 3 crystalline ships materialized in orbit just hours after Nixus regained consciousness, their hulls rippling with the same mysterious patterns as the princess's crashed vessel. Commander Thalas, their leader, was a towering figure whose skin held the depths of a nebula, his movements precise and predatory. "You will surrender the first daughter immediately," he demanded upon entering the medical bay, his guards forming a protective circle around him. Their armor seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them appear as living shadows. Reyna stood her ground between them and her patient. Princess Nixus is still recovering from severe injuries. Moving her now could compromise her healing process. "You dare presume to understand Etherian physiology, human?" Thelas's voice carried undertones of barely contained fury. "Our healing chambers aboard the Stellar Aegis are far superior to your primitive facilities. Stand down, Commander." Nixus's musical voice cut through the tension. She had pushed herself to a sitting position, though Reyna could see the effort it cost her. "Dr. Blackwood and her team have earned my trust. They saved my life when our own technology could not." The commander's expression shifted to one of confusion. "My lady, the High Council demands your immediate return. There are rumors of unrest in the outer territories." "Rumors?" Nixus laughed bitterly, the sound like breaking crystal. "My own brother tried to have me killed, the loss. The Void Seekers have infiltrated the royal court itself. I will not return until I understand the full extent of this conspiracy." Director Walsh chose that moment to enter, his weathered face carefully neutral. "Perhaps we can reach a compromise. Commander, your ships can dock with our station. Post your guards, maintain your protocols, but allow Princess Nixus to complete her recovery here, where she's already receiving treatment." Reyna watched the subtle play of lights beneath Thelas's skin, reading the commander's inner conflict in the patterns. After a long moment, he inclined his head. "Acceptable, but I will personally oversee the princess's security." Over the next few days, humans and Etherians settled into an uneasy coexistence. Reyna continued to treat Nixus, fascinated by how the princess's crystalline biology responded to their improvised treatments. The damaged tissues would form new crystal structures, each one more stable than the last. "Your approach is unconventional," Nixus observed one evening as Reyna adjusted the resonance frequency of their modified healing array. "Our healers would never think to use crystallography principles. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected directions," Reyna replied, making a final adjustment. "Like humans and Etherians working together." Nixus's expression softened. "Indeed. We have much to learn from each other, though many in my court would deny it." They see humans as barely evolved primates, too young to understand the complexities of interstellar politics. And what do you see? I see a species that refuses to accept limitations. You turn disadvantages into strengths, find solutions where none should exist. Nixus's eyes flickered to the window, where the eternal storm raged. Like building a research station on a planet that should be uninhabitable. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the station's security team. Dr. Blackwood, Director Walsh needs you and the princess in the command center immediately. We've detected something in the wreckage of her ship. In the command center, Rodriguez had connected a salvaged data core to their systems. The holographic display showed a complex network of communications, all encrypted with Etherian protocols. We managed to decrypt a small portion, Rodriguez explained, his fingers dancing over the controls. There's evidence of a vast conspiracy within the Etherian Empire. Multiple noble houses are involved, all coordinating through something called the Void Seekers. The Lost stepped forward, his face darkening. Impossible. The noble houses have been loyal to the Empire for millennia. Not impossible, old friend, Nixus said softly. Look at this communication pattern. These signatures, they match the royal house's private channels. Only someone with direct access to the crystal throne could authorize them. Your brother, Reyna realized. Prince Vorax. But why? What could be worth destabilizing an entire empire? Nixus's expression became grave. There is a secret, known only to the royal family, passed down through generations. A discovery made during our first explorations of the galaxy. She paused, looking each person in the room in the eye. We are not the first advanced civilization to arise in this sector of space. There was another, far more ancient, that possessed technology beyond even our understanding. What happened to them? Walsh asked. They vanished, leaving behind only scattered ruins and artifacts of immense power. My brother believes he has found one such artifact, hidden in the void between galaxies. But accessing its power requires something specific. Nixus turned to Reyna, her aurora eyes intense. It requires human DNA. The revelation landed like a physical blow. Reyna's mind raced with implications. That's impossible. Humanity has only been spacefaring for a few centuries. How could an ancient artifact be keyed to our species? That, Dr. Blackwood, is the question that has haunted my family for generations, Nixus replied. And I fear my brother's quest for answers will destroy both our civilizations if we don't stop him. As if in response to her words, the station's proximity alerts began to wail. On the main screen, multiple ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, their designs a darker, more aggressive version of Etherian architecture. Thelos's voice was tight with alarm. Void Seeker vessels. They found us. The storm outside seemed to intensify, as if nature itself sensed the approaching conflict. In the command center of Helio Station, humans and Etherians stood together, watching the enemy ships approach. Whatever ancient mystery connected their species, they would need to solve it quickly if they hoped to survive the coming battle. The Void Seeker ships moved with unnatural grace through Proxima Beta's storm, their obsidian hulls absorbing the crimson lightning like hungry mouths. Inside Helio Station's command center, Reyna watched tactical displays flash with increasing urgency as the enemy vessels took up attack positions. 6 heavy cruisers, 2 support vessels, Commander the Loss reported, his crystalline skin pulsing with combat algorithms. They outgun both my ships and this station's defenses combined. Director Walsh's weathered face remained calm as he assessed their options. We have emergency protocols. Underground bunkers, hardened against orbital bombardment. We can evacuate non-essential personnel. No, Nixus interrupted, her aurora eyes fixed on the tactical display. They're not here to destroy the station. They want me alive, and they want human test subjects. She turned to Reyna, her expression grave. My brother's research notes were in the data core. He's been conducting experiments, trying to understand why human DNA resonates with the ancient artifacts. Reyna felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of experiments? The kind that leave no survivors, Nixis whispered. He believes human genetic material holds the key to unlocking powers that even my ancestors could not control. Powers that could reshape reality itself. The station's communications system crackled to life, projecting a hologram in the center of the command center. The figure that appeared made Reyna step back involuntarily. He looked like Nixis, but where her crystalline form contained galaxies, his seemed to hold dying stars and collapsing nebulae. Dear sister, Prince Voryx's voice was like silk over broken glass. How fortunate that you survived my little adjustment to your ship's navigation systems. And how interesting that you fled to these humans. Perhaps you sensed their importance instinctively. You're a murderer and a traitor, Voryx, Nixis spat. How many of our people have you sacrificed for your obsession? Sacrificed? Voryx laughed, the sound making the station's lights flicker. I'm trying to restore our people to their rightful place in the cosmos. The humans are the key, their very existence proves what I've long suspected. We weren't the first to achieve greatness among the stars, and those who came before us left behind more than just ruins. Reyna stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. What are you talking about? Humans evolved on Earth. We're not some ancient experiment. Voryx's attention shifted to her, his dark eyes seeming to peer into her soul. Did you? Are you sure? Have you never wondered why your species advanced so quickly from primitive tools to starships? Why your DNA contains sequences that your evolution cannot explain? The truth is written in your genes, Doctor. Humanity carries the legacy of beings so powerful they could forge worlds and fold space like paper. Enough. Thelos' voice boomed through the command center. Whatever you believe about the humans, your actions are treason against the Empire. Stand down your forces. My forces? Voryx's smile was terrible to behold. Commander, who do you think has been funding the Void Seekers all these years? The royal treasury holds many secrets, and father was too busy maintaining his precious peace to notice where the money went. Now, sister, I'll give you one chance. Surrender yourself and the humans. Help me unlock the knowledge that is our birthright. Nixis straightened, her own crystalline form blazing with internal light. You forgot something, brother. I am first daughter of the eternal light. The royal protocols answer to me first. Her hands danced through the air, leaving trails of light that coalesced into complex patterns. The station's systems responded, holographic interfaces shifting and changing as Etherian code merged with human technology. What are you doing? Reyna asked, watching in fascination as new symbols appeared on their displays. Something impossible, Nixis replied, her voice strained with concentration. Proving that humans and Etherians are stronger together than apart. Director Walsh, I need full access to your station's power grid. Commander Thelos, prepare your ships to receive a new targeting protocol. Voryx's hologram flickered as his ships registered the change. What is this? These energy signatures, they're not possible with current technology. You look to the past for power, brother, Nixis said. I'm looking to the future. Dar. Blackwood, remember how you adapted human crystallography techniques to heal me? The principle works both ways. Your science, combined with our energy manipulation. Reyna understood suddenly. The station's power plant, we can modulate its output to match Etherian crystal frequencies. The command center hummed with rising energy as human and Etherian systems synchronized. Outside, the Crimson Storm seemed to respond, lightning arcing between the station and Thelos' ships, creating a web of power that made the Void Seeker vessels recoil. Impossible, Voryx whispered, his confidence cracking for the first time. The ancient texts never suggested. That's because you only saw what you wanted to see, Nixus cut him off. The artifacts don't respond to human DNA because humanity descended from some ancient race. They respond because humanity's potential complements our own. We were meant to find each other, brother. To work together. Not to dominate or exploit. The web of energy surrounding the station pulsed, each flash revealing new weapon hardpoints emerging from hidden compartments. Philaza's ships took up defensive positions, their hulls now glowing with the same hybrid energy. Last chance, Vorax, Nixus declared. Surrender, or witness firsthand what humans and Etherians can achieve together. In response, Vorax's hologram vanished, and the Void Seeker ships began to power up their weapons. The battle for Helios Station, and perhaps the future of both species, was about to begin. The first shots from the Void Seeker ship split the crimson sky like black lightning, their weapons designed to shred through traditional shields. But the hybrid defense grid surrounding Helios Station responded differently. Instead of trying to block the attacks, the energy web absorbed them, each impact making the barrier pulse brighter. Fascinating, Reyna muttered, watching the energy readings on her display. The crystal matrices are actually learning from each attack pattern, adapting their molecular structure. Just like how my wounds healed under your treatment, Nixus observed, her hands dancing through holographic controls. Human analysis combined with Etherian energy manipulation. Commander Thalos, are your ships ready? The commander's skin rippled with combat patterns. Ready, First Daughter. Though I've never seen weapon configurations quite like these. That's because they didn't exist until 10 minutes ago, Director Walsh said, a hint of pride in his voice. Our research station's particle accelerators were never meant to be weapons, but when synchronized with Etherian crystal tech. The station shuddered as they returned fire. Beams of pure white energy lanced out from the modified research equipment, their paths bending impossibly through space before striking the nearest Void Seeker ship. Instead of explosive damage, the beams seemed to phase through the enemy vessel's hull, its energy disrupting the crystal-based technology at a fundamental level. On the tactical display, they watched the struck ship's systems begin to fail, its dark hull becoming transparent in places as the crystal structure lost cohesion. Vorax's voice crackled through their comms, rage evident in every word. You dare use corrupted technology against pure Etherian engineering? This is why our ancestors locked away their greatest achievements. Lesser beings will always twist perfection into abominations. The only corruption here is in your mind, brother, Nixus responded, though Reyna could see the toll the battle was taking on her barely healed wounds. You speak of purity while commanding ships powered by stolen lives. The battle intensified as Void Seeker reinforcements arrived, their black ships emerging from fold space like tears in reality. But for every new tactic they employed, the hybrid defense grid adapted, its responses becoming more sophisticated as human and Etherian systems learned from each other. Dr. Blackwood. Rodriguez called from his station. I'm detecting massive power fluctuations in the enemy flagship. They're charging something big. Before anyone could react, a beam of pure darkness erupted from Vorax's ship, cutting through their defenses like they didn't exist. Alarms blared as the station's lower levels took a direct hit. Hull breach in sectors 7 through 9, the station AI reported. Emergency containment failing. Crystal reactor stability at 60% and falling. Reyna's mind raced, connecting dots from everything they'd learned. That weapon. It's based on the ancient artifacts, isn't it? That's why it can pierce our defenses. Nixus nodded grimly. A pale imitation of their power, but yes. Vorax must have managed to activate one of the smaller devices. If the real artifacts are anything like this, then we need to change our approach, Reyna decided. She turned to Director Walsh. Sir, remember that theoretical paper I submitted last month? About using quantum entanglement to enhance crystal growth? Walsh's eyes widened. The one that supposedly violated 3 laws of physics. You think. Our defensive grid is already breaking those laws, Reyna pointed out. The Etherian crystals are quantum structures by nature. If we can use the station's equipment to establish a resonance pattern, you would need direct access to the main crystal reactor, the loss interrupted. After that hit, the chamber will be flooded with radiation. I'll go with her, Nixis declared, pushing herself up despite her injuries. My body can handle the radiation, and I can interface directly with the crystal matrix. What followed was a desperate race through the damaged station. Reyna and Nixis fought their way through collapsed corridors and emergency force fields, while above them the battle raged on. They could feel each impact through the station's frame, each hit bringing them closer to catastrophic failure. The crystal reactor chamber was a cathedral of light and shadow, the massive crystal core pulsing with barely contained power. Emergency systems had failed, filling the room with a deadly mix of radiation and crystal resonance that made Reyna's protective suit crackle with warning signals. Whatever you're planning, Nixis said, her voice strained as she interfaced with the reactor, do it quickly. My brother is preparing another shot with that artifact weapon. Reyna connected her tablet to the reactor controls, her fingers flying over the interface as she input calculations. Traditional physics says this is impossible. But then, traditional physics never accounted for Etherian crystal technology. And Etherian science never accounted for human ingenuity, Nixis added, her form beginning to glow as she channeled power through her body. Together? Reyna nodded, taking the princess's offered hand. Together. They initiated the sequence just as Vorax's weapon fired again. But this time, something different happened. The hybrid defense grid didn't try to block or absorb the attack. Instead, it caught it, crystalline structures growing at quantum speeds to form a perfect resonance pattern. The dark energy beam twisted in space, turning back on itself as the laws of physics rearranged themselves according to Reyna's calculations. Above the station, Void Seeker ships began to break apart as the quantum resonance cascaded through their crystal-based systems. No. Vorax's voice echoed through the station. This isn't possible. The artifacts, the power should be ours alone. The power was never meant for one species, Nixis replied, her voice carrying through the command channel despite her exhaustion. That's what you never understood, brother. The artifacts don't respond to human DNA because humanity inherited some ancient legacy. They respond because humanity's way of thinking, of solving problems, complements our own abilities. We were meant to work together, to achieve things neither of us could alone. As if to prove her point, the hybrid defense grid had begun to reshape itself, crystal structures growing and evolving in ways that neither human science nor Etherian technology had thought possible. The Void Seeker fleet, faced with a power they couldn't comprehend or counter, began to retreat. But in the reactor chamber, Reyna noticed something wrong. Nixis had collapsed, her crystalline form flickering like a failing light. The battle had drained her already weakened body to its limit. Stay with me, Reyna pleaded, cradling the princess's head. We won. We proved them wrong. Nixis smiled faintly, her aurora eyes fixed on something distant. We did more than that, my friend. We showed them the future. Now we just have to live long enough to build it. Above them, the crimson storm of Proxima Beta raged on, its lightning illuminating the scattered debris of Void Seeker ships, a testament to what humans and Etherians could achieve together, and a warning to those who would keep them apart. 3 days after the battle, Reyna stood before the Etherian High Council's emergency session, their crystalline forms casting prismatic light throughout the transformed station conference room. Nixis lay in a specialized healing chamber nearby, her form still weakened but stable, thanks to a revolutionary treatment that combined human medical science with Etherian crystal technology. The evidence is undeniable, the High Chancellor proclaimed, his ancient form containing what looked like a spiral galaxy. Prince Vorax's crimes against both our peoples, his manipulation of the Void Seekers, and his dangerous experiments with the artifacts warrant immediate action. Reyna stepped forward, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. With respect, Chancellor, pursuing Vorax isn't enough. What happened here proves something far more important than his crimes. The success of our hybrid technology, the way human and Etherian approaches complemented each other, it wasn't a fluke. Indeed, Nixis spoke from her chamber, her voice carried through a crystal resonance field. The ancient artifacts didn't choose humans by accident. They recognized something our ancestors understood but we forgot: true advancement comes from cooperation, not isolation. The council chamber hummed with discussion, patterns of light flowing between the assembled Etherians as they communicated in their unique way. Director Walsh stood beside Reyna, his presence a reminder of how far they'd come in just a few days. The battle data is remarkable, Walsh added. The hybrid defense grid didn't just combine our technologies, it evolved them. Created something entirely new. Something that could revolutionize both our civilizations. Commander Thalas, now bearing ceremonial crystals marking him as a hero of the Empire, stepped forward. My ship's sensors recorded everything. The quantum resonance patterns Dr. Blackwood developed, when combined with our crystal matrices, achieved what our greatest scientists thought impossible. And that was just the beginning. The High Chancellor raised a hand for silence. What exactly are you proposing? A new alliance, Reyna and Nixis said simultaneously. They shared a glance, and Reyna continued, not just diplomatic relations, but a true merger of our scientific and technological knowledge. The hybrid systems we created under pressure, imagine what we could develop with actual cooperation and research. The artifacts suggest our species were meant to find each other, Nixis added. Not so one could dominate the other, but so we could achieve something greater together. My brother sought power in the past. I say we look to the future. The council chamber erupted in discussion again, but this time Reyna could see the excitement in the shifting patterns of light between the Etherian lords. The High Chancellor himself seemed to pulse with new energy. These humans, he mused, they think differently than us. Where we see established patterns, they see new possibilities. Where we rely on the accumulated wisdom of ages, they dare to question and experiment. Perhaps that is exactly what our empire needs. The formal declaration came an hour later. The Etherian Empire would establish a permanent scientific coalition with humanity, with Helios Station designated as the first joint research facility. Nixis, once she recovered, would serve as the official liaison between the species. Later that evening, Reyna sat with Nixis in the medical bay, watching Proxima Beta's eternal storm through the reinforced windows. The princess's crystalline form was stronger now, the galaxy-like patterns within her skin swirling with renewed vigor. I received word about Vorax, Nixis said softly. His remaining ships were tracked to the outer rim. He's still out there, probably searching for more artifacts. Let him search, Reyna replied. We'll be ready next time. And in the meantime, we have more important work to do. Nixis smiled, her aurora eyes bright with purpose. Indeed. The hybrid technology we created. It's just the beginning. Already our scientists are sharing notes about possibilities we never imagined. Did you see the preliminary designs for the new research vessel? The one that uses crystal-enhanced quantum drives? Harrison can't stop talking about it. He says it could reduce interstellar travel time by orders of magnitude. And that's just one project. Nixis's expression grew thoughtful. You know, there's still so much we don't understand about the artifacts, about why they respond to human DNA. But maybe that's not the most important question anymore. Oh. Reyna raised an eyebrow. What is? What we can achieve together. Whatever the artifacts' creators intended, they led us to this moment. To this alliance. The real power wasn't in their technology, it was in bringing our species together. Outside, a particularly bright flash of lightning illuminated the station. In the crystal-reinforced medical bay, the light refracted through Nixis's form, creating a brief rainbow that seemed to encompass both of them. Human and Etherian, two species separated by vast differences in biology and culture, yet united by curiosity, courage, and the desire to build something new. To the future. Reyna offered. Nixis reached out, taking her hand. Where once the touch of crystalline skin against human flesh had seemed alien and strange, now it felt natural. Right. To the future we'll build together. In the depths of space, the ancient artifacts continued their silent vigil, waiting for the day when humans and Etherians would be ready to unlock their deepest secrets. But that was a story for another time. For now, on a storm-racked planet orbiting Proxima Beta, two civilizations had taken their first steps toward a destiny greater than either could have achieved alone. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, Prince Vorax watched and waited, nursing his wounds and his hatred. But even he couldn't deny what he had witnessed, the power of unity, of cooperation, of two species working as one. The future was coming, whether he liked it or not, and it would be built not on the ashes of the past, but on the combined strength of human ingenuity and Etherian wisdom. The storm raged on, but within Helios Station, a new dawn was breaking. The wounded alien royal hadn't just been rescued by humans, she had helped forge a bond that would change the destiny of two civilizations forever.